beautiful humans. Welcome to Role Models, Juicy Conversations with Beautiful Humans. I'm Jennifer Norman, founder of the Human Beauty Movement and your host. Today, we're going to talk about self-esteem. To kick things off, I'm delighted to introduce you to my special guest from the Royal Order of Cappadocia. This is Dame Clarissa Burt.
Yes, hello. Well, it's love. Yes, I've just recently been knighted, which is very sweet of you to mention, and that was about a month ago up in Las Vegas at the Venetian, and it was a real honor to be knighted and to become a part of such an important organization that does help women and children immensely all over the world. So, more importantly, is the mission than the title.
For sure, for sure. Now, Clarissa, I have to start off by saying that you are the consummate multi-hyphenate human being. You are the founder and the CEO of In the Limelight Media. You're a media personality, producer, director, writer, author, public speaker, former supermodel, winner of the Celebrity Survivor show. Is that right?
Yeah, we squeezed that in there too.
Wow, what a repertoire you have. And so I would love to just dive right in and talk to you about self-esteem. Why did this become such an important topic for you?
Because I saw, even as a young girl, I was able to start seeing a trend, if you will, and it kind of bothered me that my perception of so many people, especially women, was so completely different than how they were, perceiving and living their lives. And it started kind of with my mom. And so mom was, don't take my picture. I come out horribly in pictures. And she always thought she had to lose weight. She didn't. She was a gorgeous woman. And my grandmother, again, beautiful woman. I need to lose weight. You don't need to lose weight. She was perfect the way she was. Believe me when I tell you, not an ounce did she need to lose. Takes 2 diet pills one day. She chokes on them, perforates her esophagus, winds up in the hospital for 6 weeks. And I'm like, well, that was kind of silly. That was kind of silly. And, and then as I was growing up, especially during, my modeling years, I am in the 1% of the women of the top models and supermodels around the world in the 80s, and some of the most beautiful creatures you'd ever want to see. And it was evident that some of them had issues, whether it be toxic relationships or drug and alcohol abuse, or maybe, anorexia, binging. We didn't know a lot about it back then, but enough to know that, they were having some difficulties, and that maybe a little bit, more some happy, healthy self-esteem might have helped that. Certainly we all have backgrounds, and, we never really knew back then. We didn't talk about it that much, especially in the 80s, like what was your background? What kind of household did you have? And you never knew if a girl had been sexually abused. So, trafficking wasn't even a word yet, so these are the kinds of gals that, again, some of them that I took a look at and wanted to, kind of like, wow, she looks like she's got everything going for her. Why is she doing X, Y, and Z? So a common denominator became self-esteem, or the lack thereof. And it bothered me. So I just wanted to kind of shake everybody and go, can't you see how amazing you are? And so I wanted to become cheerleader, if you will. I wanted to be the rah-rah session for women that are not seeing themselves, not perceiving themselves, that are not living their fullest potential. And that's where the book that's where it starts.
Now, you did just mention your book, which I would love for you to share a little bit about, because this is a best-selling book called The Self-Esteem Regime. So can you tell us a little bit of the highlights of what's inside the book and what people can expect?
I can. So first of all, when I got the book, and you can see there's 3 different colors of blue there. So it was orange, pink, and yellow. So obviously it was really for a feminine eye. And I sent it back to them, and I said, would you mind just doing it in 3 different iterations of blue? Because I also wanted to include men. Let's not forget that it's not just women that have, or girls that have these issues. Certainly men are right there with us. They are partners along the way, this thing we call life, and they have as many issues as we do, and they should be addressed. So I wanted to catch the male eye with this book as well. And it was co-written by Gary Krebs. So, we kind of partnered up. Great, by the way, great literary agent. With that having been said, the book starts with release. So the idea of, the things we know we have to let go of, the things we have to unlearn. What did we learn in the naval tribe? What exactly did serve us? What didn't serve us? And do we have the courage to move forward? Because as we do, and we start stepping into our own truth, we're going to inevitably hurt some feelings. Some people are going to be offended. Some people are going to get their nose out of joint. Some people are going to know why. And, these are the kind I often say, just love them where they're at. Don't make an issue of it. Don't try to get too deep into explanations. Only explain yourself, but love everyone where they're at. The next step, obviously, is faith. So you've got your family, faith. What if you are a believer in any faith, what is in the faith that worked for you? What was in your truth? And was there anything that they were teaching you that maybe just didn't resonate so well? And I'm not saying go against the good books. I'm just saying what resonated, what serves, what can you take on, and what can you embellish upon? Friends, your friends as well. There's a type of indoctrination, if you will, in your friendship site circles, and certainly with your educative process. So your colleges, your universities, what is it you learned there? What is it, again, with friends and your peer groups? What is it that worked and what didn't? This is where you start forming and you start your path, and as you're leaving home, as you're leaving colleges, and you're going out into the world on your own. But so, I really wanted the book to be able to speak to all different ages, certainly men and women, and to be able to address the problems that self-esteem bring, and what is it we can do to better ourselves along the way? What kind of work do we have to do?
Yeah, I love that. And I am so curious, like when somebody is feeling low self-esteem, it can manifest in certain ways. And some people that it can clam up and be very shy and fearful and just like nervous or feel ashamed of themselves and not present themselves. And then on the other flip side, as you mentioned, I mean, supermodels, a lot of them have low self-esteem. And it's like, how in the world, like it seemed to make sense on the surface, but I can imagine that a lot of the people that you were with had these issues and they just never felt good enough. And it's because of the messages that, you need to lose 5 pounds or you've got a zit or, always pointing out the negative rather than enhancing on the positive. And so there are certainly a lot of people who seem like they're in these positions of power or seem that like they have it all and they are crippled inside, like really, really paralyzed inside. And it's just such a fascinating phenomenon. And it happens for so many reasons.
It is. It happens for so many reasons, and it is fascinating. And obviously, everybody's path is different, as as individual as we all are. But we want to make sure that one of the first things we do when we catch ourselves is really catch. First of all, self-esteem 101. Never compare yourself to anyone else. And I say this all over, and people go, no, whatever. But wait. You probably do that, and you probably do it more frequently than you admit. And certainly social media hasn't helped us at all. And I offer that you are so lucky because you get to be you. You get to be you. You get to create the life that you want to go. Forget Susie Q and Johnny O'Toole. It doesn't matter what, let them be them. Let them have their own paths. You do you, you do what is important to you, what is your truth. And, I will often say this, and that is that no matter divine, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Whatever you decide works for you, knew exactly what they were doing when they created you. You are in no position to be second guessing your creator, no matter who you think that is. You're not in a position because they are the all-knowing. They know so much more than we will ever know. And so at that point, I would say, sit back, relax, take it all in, be the best person you can possibly be for yourself and for others. And if you can do that, I think you've got self-esteem, in the bag.
Yeah, those are great first steps. Are there other steps that you have in your regimen of helping to build people's self-esteem up?
Yeah, one of the first things that we let go of what is, we've been taught all of that. The last chapter that I really love a lot, and I bring in a personal note to that, is reciprocity. So reciprocal is the last chapter. It is also, a law. It's one of the universal laws of reciprocity. And I'm one of those kind of people, like a lot of us women, especially, we do, and go. And we're always taken care of, and everybody else comes first and all the rest of that stuff. And one day I remember saying, God dang it, if I could just get somebody to help me every once in a while, that, something along those lines, that I was probably being a real jerk saying, but I said it anyway. And the person in the room with me said, Clarissa, it's really hard to give to you. People would like to, they want to, but from the outside, for us, it looks like you have it all, you do it all, you know it all, you be it all. Like, you are so capable. And I stopped and I thought about that for a second. And I thought about how many times now, if someone gives me a compliment, certainly I know how to accept that with ease, joy, and glory. But many other times, if there was somebody that wanted to do something, maybe I didn't capture that in the moment, or I didn't see it as such. So take some deep breaths and realize that people around you deserve to give to you, and you deserve to receive from them, and vice versa.
That's so key. What do you think that the ultimate goal is in terms of what do you feel when you feel like you've got like, oh, I'm nailing self-esteem? Does anybody nail it? But like,
Well,
what is that essence of like knowing like, hey, I've got pretty healthy self-esteem?
yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you work on your self-esteem, you build your self-esteem, you want to hold on to happy, healthy self-esteem, and you want to continue that, because I say that because there's not a self-esteem test that you take. You take it, you get 100 on, and you're good for life. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So life being life is going to do what life does, and that is trigger you. Somewhere along the line, something's going to go awry. It's going to go wrong. It's going to go sideways. It's going to be a relationship. It's going to be a car accident, whatever it is. I mean, bumper accident. I don't wish, obviously anything bad on anyone, but that's life, isn't it? You never know what kind of day you're going to have when you wake up in the morning. So as the storms are brewing and the tornado is coming through, and all of these things are happening, you want to make sure that you're standing, you have the tools and the resources that keep you standing strong in your stead. And that means to be well rooted, so that when the storm comes through, maybe you'll lose a leaf or two. You could even lose a branch, but you will not be uprooted and transported away with the storm, right? You'll have those tools in the shed. And again, my book is a great book, but personal growth section in Barnes & Noble, I have lived in the personal growth and self-help section my entire life. I never read a biography, a fiction, a science fiction. I never read anything else but self-esteem or self-help or self-awareness and self-confidence kind of books. And so this is really a great compilation of those of my life, because these are life experiences. And also we have different case studies, or 12 different case studies of different women in here. We've got the clarion call, Clarissa's corner. There are affirmations, there's homework, there's review, there's all kinds of things that when you read this book now, Jennifer, you're going to get something out of it the first time, right? You're definitely going to get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
If you do the work. And if you do the work, and I add, you will do the work, it's going to be uncomfortable, and you need courage. You must bring courage to the table to be able to do the work. And I'm not trying to scare anyone off. I'm trying to bring you in and say, think of how exciting this work. I want to call it a playbook. Let's call it a playbook. It's a workbook playbook. But the idea that you're going to be able to be such a bigger, better, bolder, and brighter person on the other side of this book is so exciting to me. I've had people say to me, Clarissa, this book has changed my life, and that's extraordinary to me. That I just couldn't have asked for anything greater. And then you'll read the book again in 6-7 months, and you'll get something completely different out of it, because you weren't ready for that message today. You're going to be ready. The universe knows, source knows, divine knows, God knows, Buddha knows, whatever you decide works for you. They know when you're ready for the message, but you have to start putting the work in to get the process started.
Exactly. I liken it to just like thinking of it as fun, thinking of it as something new to learn, and practice. It's not that you can ever really get it wrong. It's just like every single day you learn, you adopt and assimilate something, you try it on like a new pair of shoes and see how it fits, and really kind of step into small bits of improvement every single day so that you are a better person tomorrow than you were yesterday. And that's
Absolutely.
all that life really is. It's really,
And
just,
sometimes, Jennifer, it's the smallest things.
yeah.
Sometimes it's reminding yourself to drink those extra 2 glasses of water, that you're supposed to be doing for a day, because that's what, your diet says you're supposed to do. The little things that you're taking care of your health, because the 4 pillars are look good, feel good, be good, and greater good, right? So looking good, we know when we look good. We know what that means. It's subjective. And when we're looking good, we have a little extra lilt in our step. We affront our day differently. We're able to, get on stage with more confidence. And it brings confidence. A look good, feel good is diet, exercise, and nutrition. And so, that it all works as one. We've got to keep that body, tip-top shape, especially entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, because if you go down, it all goes down. If you drop, it all tumbles down on top of you. And there's a Forbes article that came out. It says that solopreneurs and entrepreneurs are more apt to have depression than those that work in companies or at corporate. So you must be taking care of your head and your body. Look good, feel good, be good is, your finances, your relationships, your, what else, what you're reading, what you're listening to, the be good part of where is it that you are really being good? Are you remembering silly things, somebody's birthday, to bring a gift along for whatever, being really good, being present wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And then greater good is nothing more than paying it forward, giving back, tithing, volunteering. There's nothing that will make you feel better. It's like self-esteem, speed, like right away is when you are doing something good for somebody else. We all know that. So the idea that you're doing something good for somebody else makes you feel pretty darn good because you saw how good it made them feel.
Exactly, exactly. I know at the very beginning you were saying like rule number one, don't compare, which is an extremely, extremely difficult thing to do, especially when you do have other media, which is intended to be absorbed and to be infiltrative. How much of this do you think is the responsibility of society or media or advertisers or what have you versus individuals?
Yeah, it's not going to change. I don't think that's going to change. I think what will change and should change is how you're perceiving it. It's all perception. Life will only throw at you what you can handle, and you're only going to accept what you can handle. The rest of it you need to let go of. You're not going to be, there are going to be people that are going to have more than us and less than us. It's kind of one of those realities of life. And, the wanting to be like somebody else, just be you, like really want to be, you can have mentors. That's wonderful. And certainly people that you emulate. I think that's fine. I love, I would love to have been Oprah and have had her cachet, her impact on the world. I'm working on it in my own way. And I think I'm doing just fine. But I'm not on Oprah's path. She's got a completely different path. And I've got a multimedia platform just like she does, but it's different and it's okay. And I'm still proud of the work that I do and how I especially, help many women. I've got a mastermind and we've got a mastermind, is 12 sessions and the book is 12 chapters and we've merged the two. So whereas before it was a business mastermind, now it's a business and personal mastermind. And there are very few masterminds that do that, where they'll take the time to say, we've had a couple of women come in, Jennifer, and they'll say, girls, I need a little extra prayer this week because my son tried to commit suicide. Or one gal came and said, we've just discovered that my husband has stage 4 prostate cancer. Or, these are the kinds of things that normally at business functions or in business masterminds, you don't bring to the table. You don't bring that to the fore. Whereas here in my mastermind, we rally around you, we call you afterwards, we make sure you're getting support during the entire time. And it's a different kind of vibe. It's a different kind of feeling. And this is what you had said before about heartfelt and, living, with a service kind of heart. It's not talk, it's do. And so, yeah, that's what we love doing around here.
Yeah, I love the idea of finding cues. It's like if you are self-aware enough to be able to notice how you are feeling. So if you see somebody that, perhaps the tendency being to compare, but if you see somebody and your initial reaction is jealousy or resentment, then you know that there's work to do. If your initial reaction is, gosh, that is so inspiring. I love that. That's something that I want to see how much of that I can call my own and help me in my own progress towards what I want to see and be and manifest in my own life, then we're getting somewhere, right?
Well, it's the vibration, isn't it? It's very like, jealousy is at a very low vibrational energy. So when you're doing something good for you and when you're starting to do, really good things for everyone else, for the community, for those around you, you start, and they say, what do they say? What's this about rising tides, raise all ships or something along those lines. So, this is, and the more you do that, the more benevolence you attract. So, there is nothing that she's doing that you can't do. You can do it differently. You can do it better. You can either give up or you can give it all you got, right? There's only a few different ways you can go, but why not try the different ways? Because you don't want to be her. You haven't been in her shoes. You haven't walked a mile in them, and you don't know what the true story is. So, if we can all just be happy for one another and really support one another, really truly support one another. Here's another thing that I love to say, and that is loyalty is when you have my back behind my back. So if you're at the water cooler and everybody's trashing Susie Q, are you going to become, part of that, the frenzy, the tribal frenzy, and pile on that? Or are you going to say, you know what, gals, I know Susie Q, and who you're describing is not how I know her, and walk away? And will that emarginate you from the crowd? Okay. But, there's something else that I coined, and it's called, I want to live high.
Mhm.
And that is, I want to live in honor. I want to live in integrity. I want to live in honesty. And I want to live in, in gratitude and in honesty. I screwed that up. So honesty, integrity, gratitude, and honor. There you go. The acronym is HIGH. And if you can live in radical honesty with yourself and with others, if you can live in integrity, which means who are you when no one else is in the room? If you can live in gratitude, and I mean really gratitude, you have a crappy day, okay, rant, bitch, moan, complain, got it. But, what are the 5 top things? I've got a roof over my head. I got food in the pantry. I've got people that love me. I've got my health, and I've got, great friends. Boom. Most people in the world would be happy with just those 5. I could go on with another 20 things that I'm grateful for. Mm-hmm. And I think that we all need to stay mindful, and what that really helps the vibrational levels stay high at a higher level. And then with honor. I want to be a woman that lives with honor all the time. And that means honoring myself and honoring you. And, we all miss the mark. We are not perfect. If you can aspire to that, mm-hmm. then there's 80% of the self-esteem game right there.
And you also talk about the power or the benefit of support groups. And so surrounding yourself with people who are going to live in that high place with you, and each other, like just supporting, lifting each other up on their journeys, is a very special thing.
Well, we don't get to choose our family, and not that, a lot of people have phenomenal families, and that's a wonderful thing. Other people are not so lucky. They don't have support systems that they can turn around to or go back to or call up every day. Don't have that. So you get to choose your own, make your own, find your own. And then, I think I've already talked about the 12th chapter being reciprocity, and that is give and take. So when you find that group, and you might only find 5 in a lifetime, because as you've heard it before, some people come in for a reason, others a season, and others a lifetime. Those are the people that you really want to nurture. Always, everyone. You want to nurture everyone all the time, but the ones that are your ride or dies, the ones that are the 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls, no questions asked. No questions asked. You jump in a car and you go if somebody needs you. I don't mean you're helping bury dead bodies. I mean, there's a legitimate reason. But the people that, you can count on, and that they can count on you, are the people that you will be acquiring during your lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And that really gets to the point of unconditional friendship or unconditional love, because there's a lot of people that you'll recognize it when they say they'll be there for you. They're not necessarily there for you. They might not be the ones that you would consider in your support circle.
Right. Yeah. And, again, you don't want to cut everybody out, because you'd be one lonely world if, we were waiting for everybody around us to be so perfect. But, you want to get to a point where you are no longer triggered, because you are, again, standing so strong in your stead with your tools and your resources and your happy, healthy self-esteem, that you can still interact with all of these people, but you're going to learn how to love them where they're at. Mm-hmm. Knowing that they're on a different path, knowing that your vibrational energy might be, higher than theirs. Give them a moment, give them the time, give them let them do their work. And maybe, tend a hand sometimes, like maybe you can help pull them up. I know that I've been pulled up. So, we're constantly, again, reciprocating, giving and taking.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about mirror therapy. Can you tell me a little bit about, what your practice is and how you would advise other people to practice mirror therapy?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, mirror therapy is nothing that I invented. The first I'd heard about it was Marie Louise Hayes. Her works came out with mirror therapy. It might have been done before. It could have been done. I think it was even Neville Goddard that started with mirror therapy. And Jack Canfield has used it. Many different people have used mirror therapy. And that is when you talk to you. It looks weird. It feels weird. It sounds weird. You'll get used to it, but bring tissues, because you're going to be able to talk to yourself the way, with love, with ease, with joy, with glory, and telling yourself. And when you look at yourself and you say these things, it's going right into your soul. You cannot sidestep this. And when you're saying to yourself, I love you, you're phenomenal, you're spectacular, you are so smart, you are so kind, you are so good, you are so giving. And then you say to yourself, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the time that I let you down. I'm sorry for the time that I didn't stand up for you. I'm sorry for the time that I didn't defend you. I'm sorry for the hurt that I've caused you. You start to have these kinds of conversations with yourself. Again, it feels weird. It really does. But if you can stand there and say, I love you. God, I just love you. You are one spectacular human being. I love people to tell me that. I think that's really nice when they do. And it just makes me feel all warm all over. And I try to do that as much as I can with others. But there's nothing wrong. In fact, absolutely nothing wrong with you telling yourself. And that's what I invite everyone to do.
That's so fascinating because I think that a lot of people can't get over that hurdle of feeling like a narcissist when they do something like that.
Narcissism and healthy self-esteem are two different things. Narcissism is the lack of self-esteem, first of all, and it's a false sense of self. Okay. Happy, healthy self-esteem is the complete opposite. So it's okay to love yourself. You should be loving yourself. You should be loving yourself more than you love anybody else, because just like they say on the plane, put your oxygen mask on first and then think of everyone else. And I think you should be madly in love with yourself. Here's another one that I love to leave everybody with, Jennifer, and that is, I am enough. I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. Everybody's enough. And when you look up the definition of enough, it says only as much as is required. Now you think about that for a second, and you think about when you're talking to your subconscious, when you think about what you're telling your subconscious, right? And you say, I'm enough. Well, God, that kind of falls a little flat. But when you say to yourself, I am so much more than enough. Oh man, my so much more than enough. It has a different vibe. It's a different ring. It's a whole different, level. It's such a huge way. You just elevate yourself to a whole different level when you say, I am so much more than enough. Because enough is, what's enough? It's not enough.
Absolutely. I'd love to shift gears for a moment because certainly you've been able to have quite a lot of accomplishments over the course of your career, and you've started your own company. And I think that a lot of people get a lot of inspiration from women who have found a certain level of success and have been able to find fulfillment in what they do. Can you tell us about your journey?
I was on every major runway in the world. You name the designer, I was on their runway. And that was really an exciting time. And I came home with about 250 magazine covers. I had my own counter at Bloomingdale's for about 10 years because I was the face for Orlane Cosmetics, which was a French, company. And so my modeling career was amazing. It was really, really great. But again, I didn't think I could, but I tried and I did. And then, I screwed it up. I wasn't ready. And so took a step back, gathered myself, took a deep breath, tried it again, and it really went well the second time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I guess the message there in self-esteem is it's okay if it does, fail. Here's another lovely acronym that I absolutely love. And that is FAIL is your first attempt in learning. So it's okay to fail. Mm-hmm. Failing just means you're that much closer. Say, do it all the time and don't, make a habit of it. But if you can, know that failure is normal. It's going to happen. And every time you do fail, you're that much closer to the end goal, which is success. So,
yeah. And then later on, you got into media.
Yeah, I did. So I was Mary Poppins in the kindergarten play. And then, I was told that I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. So I guess I was the talker way back when. I knew when I was Mary Poppins in the kindergarten play and I sang Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And I had pictures of that too. And I got my first applause. I was hooked. Oh my God, I was hooked. I knew that I was going to be on stage in some way, shape, or form for the rest of my life. Where there was a stage and a microphone, that's where I wanted to be. And, it took a little bit longer. I didn't really start until about 31 on Italian television. Mm-hmm. But ever since then, I lived in Italy for 30 years. So I worked on television there, but it's been a microphone in some way, shape, or form, so I'm also with that. So the communicative process, for me, all communications, and then being really passionate about the position and condition of women around the world. And then, Ergo, the book, self-esteem, wanting to see women, believe in themselves, up their game, pick themselves up, dust themselves off, never look back. And, if it hurts, it isn't love. I'll throw that in there too. And that's because I also collaborate with domesticshelters.org. So women that are in abusive situations need to, as I said, get up, move on, and never look back. And there's plenty of help out here for you. And I know it's hard and I know it's scary. And there's all kinds of help out here. If you look for it and you want to get out of that situation, it's there.
I think that that's so fascinating too, and it ties in so perfectly to self-esteem, because I think that there's a lot of relationships which are built upon codependency, and then they
And
become
toxicity.
yeah, and then you lose yourself because you feel that you can't be yourself without that other person, but you're not yourself with that person. That
Exactly.
person is
That's
you.
that's beautifully said. Perfectly said. You're not yourself with that person. That is so right. That is so true. Good on
Mm.
you. Well, I'm going to have to use that. I like that. But yeah, and absolutely right. This is my mission. This is my movement. And that is to make sure women everywhere, and there are women all over the world doing this kind of work. And I don't think there are enough of us, and there should be many more of us. And that is to really, really be lighting each other's candle and adjusting each other's crowns. If it gets a little
Yeah.
crooked, you're there. You're just there for them. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm also creating with the Women's Global event. So I'll make sure you know about that too, and all of your listeners.
Well, Dame Clarissa Burt, your crown is shining brightly, my friend.
Thank
It
you.
is. And I thank you so much for the work that you're doing, for the book that you wrote, for coming on this podcast, and all the things, all the things. Thank you very much for being a beautiful human.
Thank you, love. Thanks.